Welcome, geniuses. I'm Genie, your best buddy for A-levels. In this channel, we'll bring you to explore the secret formula behind success. Hey Marissa, welcome to the show.
Hey Genie, thanks for having me. What's up everyone, my name is Marissa Sophia and I am currently in my penultimate year at the London School of Economics and Political Science studying economics and economic history. Before entering university, I did Cambridge A-levels and the SAT.
Both A-levels and SAT? Talk about multitasking, am I right? Is there a difference in what UK and US universities look for?
To be honest, there is no right or wrong way to approach these essays. The admissions office just wants to get to know the real you. For US universities, that is. For UK universities, they prefer something proper, academic focused, and formal, whereas American universities value your progress over everything. You could even talk about your fears and how you fought through them.
Well, I guess that's a no-no to submitting the same personal statement for, both sides. How did you approach writing these vastly different personal statements?
For the UK, many students tend to think that successful personal statements must include quotes from super important people in history or Russian literature to seem more cultured, when in fact, admissions offices really want to know your personal thoughts and also your opinions on things and your experiences. You don't have a lot of characters to go on and on about something mentioned decades ago, so choose your words wisely. I recommend beginning your personal statement with an experience that shaped the person you are today. Something that pushed you to pursue the certain subject perhaps. Relate what you have learned from these experiences or something that you've researched previously to your academic passions. Some universities tend to search for a specific keyword in your personal statement if you're applying to a specific degree program. I applied to very different courses, so my personal statement was more like encompassing all of my academic interests, from economics and history to politics and international relations.
What about the US? How'd that go?
My US applications were very personal. Some of the questions were regarding my fears, my goals, or even my favorite hobbies. These essays depend on the university you're applying to, and since I have experience applying to many, I can confidently say that they really want to read something personal about you. You can talk about your struggles facing racism, financial situations, family problems, you name it. Anything. An issue I faced during this entire process was having to break myself down to understand myself and then start writing. It was honestly very emotionally taxing. I would really advise you to take as long as you can to write these essays because you're obviously not going to be writing every single essay at once in one go. I would advise you to not sound super academic. Some of the interviewers that I've met have told me that when they're reviewing some admissions essays, they tend to sound super crafted and robotic. Feel free to talk about your deepest, darkest secrets and personal growth. They value that so much.
Very personal for a personal statement. They'll practically know you better than you do yourself at that point, am I right? And how did you go about bridging your personal statement with your experiences?
I used to be super active in high school and in my A-levels college. Literally, I was involved in so many things like debates, music, sports, volunteer work, even academic forums. I loved trying out new things. So my advice to you would be just join anything you think is cool and interesting. For example, I used to be a very shy kid growing up, but after I joined debate in high school and took part in Toko Nilam, I think you could say I pretty much grew out of the fear of speaking my own mind. Talk about your personal growth. Link your achievements and experiences to your preferred degree. It's okay to be cocky on paper.
I imagine it was pretty hard to choose which activities to include.
I mentioned only the important events that I took part in, like debates in the USA and volunteer work in Cambodia, and then I linked it to my passion to study history and socioeconomic issues in the world.
Did you have to go through an interview process for both US and UK applications?
These interviews were mostly for US universities because UK universities, they usually just have entrance exams and interviews for Oxbridge. The tips for these are similar though. This is because UK universities very rarely have interviews because they focus on your good grades and personal statements only.
Alright then, I'm all ears.
Interviews used to freak me out. I had to travel to different places and states. The best part about these interviews though is that they're usually carried out in restaurants, so the interviewers would treat you to a meal. At least my interviewers did. Before each interview, I would do a complete background check of the person interviewing me. They will usually contact you prior to the interview, so you have a bit of information about them. Use this information wisely. I like to find out interesting things about my interviewers and then link them to my interests, experiences, and knowledge as well. This is my ultimate interview life hack. Read a lot of books relating to your course of choice just to wow the interviewers. Other than that, just get a good night's rest the night before and be yourself.
What were the interviews like? Wait, do you recall some of the topics discussed? Because that would be awesome.
Most of the interviews were very personal. They wanted to understand my background and what motivates me every day, what gets me out of bed every day. The technical questions usually involve like basic A-level economics knowledge, since this is a university entry-level interview rather than a job interview. I personally talked about labor economics and the Laffer curve during my interviews. Some case studies were very open-ended. They want to test how you think and if you're the right candidate for them.
From what I understand, you had an entrance test for the US. So, tips, please?
Yeah, so basically for my US university applications, I had to do the SAT, which is basically a standardized test for college admissions in the States. My A-levels college didn't offer an in-depth course for the prepping for the SAT, but we did have a teacher that helped guide us through the entire process and also helped mark our practice tests. Knowing this, I went to the bookstore and bought multiple test books that would help, like those from College Board or Kaplan. I wasn't a sponsored student, so I definitely couldn't afford the SAT tutors or the US university advisors, so I found the next best alternative: my seniors. A lot of their tips were very helpful and helped calm me down. I wouldn't have gotten all my university offers if it wasn't for them. Okay, so the SAT consists of 4 parts: reading, writing and language, math, and the optional essay. My seniors advised me on my timing, which is basically the most crucial part of standardized testing. For reading, in order to skim through all the passages, I divided my time equally for each passage. Let's say there are 5 passages and we have a 65-minute time frame to complete them, and each passage has like their respective questions, right? So I would spend like about 10 minutes completing each like passage set, so then you have extra 15 minutes to either check, jot down your answers, or even fill in the blanks if you left any. I would recommend using a pencil and circling or underlying important things while you skim through each passage, because that really helps cut down the time, like when you're answering the questions and like you're referring to the passage. It really helps, and it also ensures that less time is wasted. Also practice basic grammar to prepare for the writing and language test. For math, basic A-level mathematics knowledge would suffice. For the optional essay section, you should practice argumentative essay writing.
Genuine question. Time works the same for you, right? Yes, no. Maybe. Otherwise, I can't see how it's at all healthy for you to cope with 2 different academic routes.
This was really tough for me, especially having to keep up with my studies at the time, but I knew that I wanted to pursue both paths, so I really pushed myself to go for it. I explained a lot about this in a video that I posted on my personal YouTube account, so you can search Marissa Sophia if you'd like to know more. Basically, I focus on my A-levels and personal statement during the weekdays and my US university applications during the weekends. Find a balance for yourself. This worked for me, maybe it'll work for you too. Take some time in the day to go out, exercise, meet some friends, have a laugh. At the end of the day, your mental health is the most important.
Think fast. General advice for uni applications. Off the top of your head. Go.
Applicants tend to make this mistake over and over again. They don't start early. Personal statements and admissions essays take a lot of work and a lot of time, especially because they're emotionally taxing. Writing early gives you some space to breathe in between sentences and also avoids a lot of careless mistakes. Secondly, do not plagiarize. I know it's tempting to contact seniors who have gotten to really good universities and take some inspiration from their personal statements. I know, but you shouldn't copy what other people write. Not only is it unethical, consequences are horrific if and when you are caught. Plus, something that perhaps caught the eye of your senior's admissions officer might not work for your admissions officer. Please keep that in mind. The main mistake that I made was that I didn't really give myself enough time to relax and get proper rest. In hindsight, this probably would have made my essays way better because relaxation promotes a healthier mind and clearer mind for a greater essay.
Could you give us a timeline on writing the personal statement? How soon should you start? Because if time travel's involved, I'd like to know.
My advice would be to begin writing your personal statement approximately 2 months before the deadline. Some may disagree and say 3 months beforehand would be best. However, since I wanted to apply to multiple courses, I thought that I needed extra time to properly research these courses and the universities that offer them. Basically, I would avoid last-minute writing because you have to check and proofread your essays at least 5 times before you submit it. Since I had a lot of US university applications to write, I made sure that my UK personal statement work was all done during weekdays, and during weekends I would really focus on my US applications. I wrote my personal statement by sections, 3 to be exact. The first section focused on the inspiration behind my course and degree choice. The second section focuses on the quantitative and qualitative research that I've personally done and how it relates to my passion or degree. And then the third and final section focused on bits about myself and my past achievements to show off my personality.
What made you choose to ultimately study in the UK instead of the US?
So at the time I was really struggling financially and I had like a really long conversation about this with my family. Although I did receive a partially funded scholarship from the University of California, I had to turn it down. But it's fine. If I ever end up doing my master's in the future, I would most definitely consider going to the States. Also, it's so much fun being a part of the LSE family. I am so grateful to be where I am today. The teachers, friends, and staff in the LSE are so amazing, so helpful. The courses are also intellectually stimulating. It's amazing. I think that's basically it. Thank you so much, Genie. Bye, everyone.
That's all for today's video. If you're interested in more genuine sharing by other geniuses, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Ding dong. Genie will see you in our next adventure. Bye bye.